Good morning, and welcome back again to the unknown experience. Well, I saw quite a couple of interesting headlines in the last week or two in regards to the space station and what's happening there. So the latest headline in regards to the International Space Station was that the crew of the space station smelt something burning or smoke in the Russian section of the space station. I'm smiling because I keep on thinking maybe these Russian guys smuggled some cigarettes or cigar on board with their vodka. Yeah, but in any case, a while back there was an article about Russians complaining and saying that there was a American astronaut that went nuts and broke some of the equipment on board in order to be sent back or go back home. Whether or not that's true, I don't know, but I don't read the full article, so I can't say much about that. But it seems like a weird, funny game of cat and mouse at this stage. It was quite funny. In any case, well, some of the other news is that there's rumors that Elon Musk was invited by Roscosmos, the Russian space agency or a company in Russia, based in Russia, for a cup of tea. Interesting. Might be less administration involved in launching from Russia, if you think about it. But yeah, there's some interesting headlines here and there. No specific article that I read in full, but there's quite a few articles doing the rounds. Those are some of the ones that seems like they could be interesting articles, and I might read them a bit later today. Then I saw some articles during the course of this week about near-Earth asteroids, and it's so funny how people phrase the articles that they write. For example, one article stated that they asked NASA, will an asteroid hit Earth? In my opinion, that's just a stupid question. Asteroids have hit the Earth thousands and thousands of times. That's never going to stop. It's always going to happen. What, 2019? Remember that one in Russia? It's always going to happen. It's never going to stop. So, in terms of that article, it's a stupid one. It's just the way they phrase these articles is they always almost pretend that the thing is going to hit Earth, so people would click on the article and read it just to find out that this asteroid is passing freaking Mars or Venus or Jupiter. It's nowhere near Earth. So they just basically creates the impression that this thing might hit Earth, and then everyone goes and reads this article only to discover that this asteroid or near Earth object is nowhere near Earth, in fact. So that's misleading, but in any case, that's the media, I guess. One way to get articles read, at least. But yeah, so there's quite a few interesting articles out at this stage about space and space junk, and Elon Musk potentially visiting Roscosmos in Russia. So yeah, keep an eye out on those articles. If you've read one of them, well, give me an update on the comment section. Otherwise, I'll just have to wait and read them a bit later today. But yeah, yesterday I released a video about the Inspiration 4 mission that's scheduled to launch on the 15th and then land again on the 18th. Quite a good response so far. Not excellent, but yeah, okay, I guess. But yeah, the Russians are actually working on a nuclear rocket, and well, this rocket should shorten the travel time between Earth and other destinations, which would be very cool. And obviously I think it will take up, well, it will have the effect of the rockets using less fuel to get to their destinations, making them lighter and hence traveling faster and so forth. But it's some ways off, I think 2030 or so, before they really test this technology, if they ever do. It's just politics in terms of space that's slowing many processes down at this stage. Elon Musk at one stage did state that the rules are outdated in terms of the rules are written for 50 years back, not for today's world, and I kind of agree. Our safety first, definitely. The fact remains, the rules are old and needs to be reviewed. The world changes, and so should the rules. Now, just in terms of the Russians and articles that I saw, just one thing is, at one stage I was under the impression that the Russians are kind of wanting to imitate the American way of doing things, like and pretending to be like cowboys, literally pretending to be cowboys. But I think at this stage, the Russians are in fact closer to being real cowboys than the Americans. Real interesting bunch, but I actually like the Russians quite a bit. Just hope the smoke that they smelled on the International Space Station is something other than equipment or infrastructure burning on the station. That could lead to a disaster. Let's just hope that someone's smoking a freaking cigar or cigarette. Yeah, I found it really funny, but let's hope it's not actual equipment or infrastructure on the station burning. That would lead to big problems. In fact, the International Space Station is getting old and it's time for a new one. There's multiple plans for more commercial stations aimed at tourism, and there's quite a few plans actually for space stations. And surprisingly enough, there's a few that's actually inflatable, believe it or not. And this could actually work. I think it's Bigelow Space that's got one proposal that they had. I don't think they're really in existence anymore, but they did put forth the idea, and there's many people watching this and taking up on that idea. So that should be interesting. Just one thing about commercial space stations. If it's going to be a tourism thing, more than likely it's going to need to have gravity. So you are going to need a heavy lift vehicle like the Starship to be operational when you construct something like this, because to make a spaceship, or at least a space station that's got gravity, you need to be able to put tons and tons of mass into orbit to create this space station. Yeah, let's hope a super heavy lift vehicle like the Starship is successful, because then we can see construction on worthwhile space stations, and we can maybe expand from only having space stations where you do zero gravity research to tourism. And yeah, believe it or not, space is going to be more accessible because the prices are going down at quite a rate now, thanks to stuff like Falcon and reusability. So let's hope the Russians were only smoking something in their section of the ISS, although it's not advisable because it might be dangerous. But it would be safer than equipment or failure of a system on board. Vodka might be a bit safer, I think. Yeah, so inspiration for taking place pretty soon. Now, if Starship is successful, there's going to be quite a few bits and pieces of ground infrastructure that they need to put into place to make this doable or practical in terms of earth-to-earth travel. So in other words, you could travel from Los Angeles to Beijing in like half an hour or 40 minutes or something. But to do that, you need to have the infrastructure at both ends. So I was thinking the other day, if I were to build one like Starbase in South Africa, there's one location that would be ideal. The thing is, it has to be near a coastal area where you don't fly over land to minimize any potential disaster or problems that might occur, so that your Starship flows over water and not over land. So I would, if I had the infrastructure or the money to fund such a project, And obviously you don't want to be left behind as a country when they have like Starship continent to continent travel up and running. So the one place I would build a starbase, actually there's two locations that you could consider, but I personally would think Northern Cape, for example, next to the coast. That would enable you to travel to Europe and the Americas, North and South America, and that travel time would be like 20 minutes, so that would be quite amazing. And then obviously if you want to travel to Australia, you'd have to have a base on the eastern coast of South Africa. Okay, look, this is all one science fiction, mad ramblings if you want, but yeah, quite interesting. And the other thing is, there's huge amounts of cold seawater right next to you, which is something that you could use to quite a large degree from the water deluge system and for many other things as well. And also don't forget, Northern Cape, a ton of solar energy potentially, so you could power your whole operation in terms of electricity at least with solar power, and even wind if you're close to the Western Cape. Well, I would suggest Northern Cape, but that would be quite interesting, and that's far off in the future, probably 1 or 2 governments after now, because our current government, I don't want to get into too much politics, but they do not want SpaceX to invest here because of reasons, alphabet reasons, I always want to say as well. But in any case, just thought I would talk some crap and recorded some thoughts, but interesting. Look in the news articles that I mentioned, feel free to search them on Google or wherever, I'm sure you'll find them. I haven't read the article, well, either one of those articles I spoke about, but it sounds like it could be interesting. Might actually read them. Well, the one about the asteroid I read, and it's as per usual, clickbait, trying to get people to read the article by making exaggerated or even crazy claims and asking if, will the asteroid hit Earth? I mean, really, that's a ridiculous question. They hit Earth all the time. Nothing funny about that. Just usually as small as can be, and don't have any real impact, burn up in the atmosphere. Now and then we get a bigger one. But yes, they will. Who knows when a big one will come. No one. But in any case, a lot of articles out there that's kind of interesting. The smoke in the International Space Station one, I'm still to read that one. Sounds quite interesting. Maybe those guys on the ISS just put aside their differences and stop blaming each other for stuff and sit down and have vodka. I don't know. But yeah, definitely interesting, and potentially disastrous if they don't handle it correctly. But in any case, thanks for watching. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you again.